Hi all, my name is Hannah Munger. Some of you may recognize my face from seeing me around this spring semester at NeuAbility, and for those of you who don't know me, I am interning at NeuAbility through Colorado State University. I just recently graduated with my Bachelor of Science in Health and Exercise Science, focusing on health promotion. And I am making this video for you to talk about hippotherapy and its effects on the paraplegic and quadriplegic populations. Let's get into what hippotherapy is. First off, I should probably explain what hippotherapy is. Hippotherapy is defined as speech, occupational, or physical therapy that utilizes the movement of a horse. So instead of using something like a treadmill or lifting weights, we use the horse in place of that tool. Hippotherapy is usually completed in a non-traditional setting. It is done where the horses are, whether that be in a barn or at a farm. Horses are growing in popularity to use as treatment tools due to their ability to give immediate feedback. For those of you watching who aren't super familiar with what paraplegia and quadriplegia is, paraplegia is when two limbs are impaired on the person, and quadriplegia or tetraplegia is when all four limbs are impaired on the person. So getting into the severity of the spinal cord injury is kind of where we get into like the nitty-gritty details of when you could have two people with the exact same level of injury done in the exact same way, but yet both of them have different sensations or motor functions throughout their body. It has been found that a horse's gait is basically just an exaggerated version of a human being's normal walking gait. So a horse has around 100 steps per minute as their walk rate, and in about 5 minutes, that can represent 500 neuromotor inputs to the rider. And the longer the duration, the more neuromotor inputs that the rider is going to receive. And this can be extremely influential for someone who is living with paralysis because they cannot stimulate those muscles on their own as if they were walking. So putting them on a horse and they get that forward and back, side to side, and up and down movement that the horses provide, and this just kind of helps strengthen the muscles that they would normally use when they are walking. The sensation of riding a horse stimulates our muscles, promoting core strength, coordination, and balance, as well as giving the rider a sense of autonomy because, after all, they are driving, in a way, this 1,000-pound animal. Smooth riding relaxes high-toned muscles, and when you ride faster, such as at a trot, it develops muscle tone. The technical aspects of riding also help develop fine motor control. As I said earlier, a horse's gait is similar to the neuromuscular pathway stimulation that occurs when we walk every day. It provides sensory input through movement, which is variable, rhythmic, and repetitive. The resulting movement responses in the rider can help build pathways that lead to improvements in motor skills and walking. And if paralysis is permanent, the rider's core strengthens, balance, and fine motor skills can all show signs of improvement. In a study conducted to explore the effects that hippotherapy has on the mental well-being and spasticity of individuals living with spinal cord injuries, it was found that around 40% noticed a decrease in their spasms for more than 36 hours post-hippotherapy, and that number went up a little bit to around 50% noticed a decrease in their spasms for 24 hours post-hippotherapy. Now moving more into some of the mental benefits that can happen with hippotherapy and just horseback riding in general, it has been shown that horses can break down the stressors in our mind because riders are having to focus on the task that is at hand, and that is staying safe on this horse. We have to predict whether the horse is going to change direction, change speed, or how the environment is affecting either of them. It has also been shown that horseback riding releases the mood-enhancing hormone known as serotonin, and being around animals in general does this. But going back to that study that I discussed earlier with spasticity, and it focused on mental well-being, there was 3 other interventions, 2 of which did not involve a real-life horse, and then the one did, which was used for hippotherapy. And it was found that the patients only had an increase in their mental well-being after the sessions of hippotherapy. And with the 2 other interventions, the patients either had no increase or decreased. A little bit into the social and emotional side as well. Hippotherapy forms a trusted partnership between the rider and the horse. On one hand, the horse is entrusting the rider to steer it safely, to make sure that neither of them are going to get hurt, and the rider is entrusting the horse to keep it safe. So it is kind of just a mutual relationship that they are both looking to each other for safety and just that sense of comfort. And now some of you may be thinking, how am I going to get up on a horse? Say you are a high-level quadriplegic and you have no control of your trunk. There's no way you can hold yourself up on a horse for a long period of time at all. That's okay. Just like everything else in this world, we have adapted. There are adaptive saddles. The first one that comes to my mind is called the Independence saddle, and this basically is a saddle that has a backrest, a headrest, forearm, grips, and it has a safety release system to keep everyone safe at all times. You are fully supported, and just to keep in mind that a session of hippotherapy is not just sending that person out alone on a horse, not at all. Depending on how intense the injury level is, the more assistance that is going to be required. But typically in sessions that I have been a part of and worked with, there is at least 2 sidewalkers on each side of the horse, and then a horse leader who is in charge of moving the horse and keeping everyone safe at all times. Depending, like I said, depending on the level of injury and how severe it is, more help can be used or less. There are scenarios too, as if you don't want to get on the horse, you do not care to be involved with horses or around them, maybe they scare you, you're allergic, whatever the case may be. There's always ways we can work around it as well. There are mechanical tools called the equicizer, which is basically a mechanical horse that can be used to improve your overall fitness and riding skills. It stimulates a horse as if a horse was riding. You can go nice and slow as if you were walking, or you can kind of bump it up to a trot, or even faster like on a racing horse. And it is basically just moves in a forward and backward system and can stimulate as if you were riding on an actual horse. Just like any form of therapy that we have, it's going to be right up some people's alleys, while others can't ever get the hang of it or just don't care to. And that's totally okay. Not every one of us are the same, and that's just what we have to live with. I do recommend at least everyone trying it out at some point in their life. Hippotherapy does not just have to be riding a horse. It can be interacting with a horse, petting a horse, grooming a horse, tacking up the horse, but riding is by far the best part and shows the most benefits for everyone. And it should not be holding anyone back, from the highest level of quads to completely able-bodied people. I recommend horseback riding. It is of the utmost importance to always be upfront about your condition, especially involving hippotherapy, because we are always trying to match up the right horse to the right person. Not everyone is the same, and just in that way, not every horse is the same. So we will always want to make sure you have the perfect match. There are many businesses around Colorado and just in the States in general that offer hippotherapy services. I will be sure to link some of my favorites below that will cater to spinal cord injuries and other disabilities. Some of my favorites that I have worked personally with are the My Heroes up at Fort Collins at the Temple Grandin Equine Center, and then Hearts and Horses in Loveland, and there is CSU Spur right in Denver, which is nice and close to us. If you have any other questions about hippotherapy, horseback riding, or just horses in general, feel free to contact me. I am always happy to answer questions relating to this. I have a lot of experience to speak from, and I'm just happy to talk about it in general. Thank you so much for watching, and don't be afraid to get back on the horse.